everybody, thanks for joining my channel Outside with Jeff. Today we're going to be working inside the basement on a project that I've been putting off for several months, if not a little bit longer than that. In this spot right here where I'm sitting, we're going to be installing a sump pump basin. Essentially what's happened is I've owned this house for 13 years. The first 11 and a half years of owning this house, our basement never flooded, okay? I'd say the first 10 years of owning this house, our basement never flooded. Well, we live at the base of a hill, and a few years ago, the city did a lot of infrastructure improvements where they put in a new road and they put in road drains so that instead of the water just running off in natural ditches, now it goes into a city sewer, city drain, city rainwater drain system. And basically, if we get more than an inch and a half or 2 inches of rain in a day, it overwhelms the city system, and our natural floor drain, which has been adequate since this house was built in 1930s up until 2018, 2019, was perfectly adequate. But now that the system outside of our control has been changed, it's no longer adequate. So we need to have a different system put in place, a backup system, so that when the city system is overran by water, we can get that water out of our basement before it causes a problem. So my natural floor drain is about 4 feet over here to the left. I've got a site here that I've selected. It's close enough to this window here that I'm going to run the pipe out of, and it's close enough to my GFCI outlet source. It's far enough from these floor supports, so it's going to be the site that we're going to select to install this basin. So most of this project is going to be, I'm going to have to string it over several days. I'm working a lot right now. If I was to just do this project start to finish, I'm guessing it's going to take me about 6 hours. So I'm going to do a lot of time-lapse footage, and it's going to be broke up over several days. So excuse me if I'm wearing different clothes here and there in the video. That's the deal. I'm just doing it as time allows, and I'll explain all the processes either by voiceover or as I'm doing it. But let's get right into it. And like I said, once I do the explaining on what's going on, I'll just kick it in time lapse, and you can see it as I'm actually doing the work. So all right, everybody. So first thing, what I'm going to do is, this is the lid to the sump basin. I'm just going to draw around that in a circle with a piece of chalk, and then that's going to give me, I only need to be 1/8 of an inch outside, so I'm just going to drill on the outside of the chalk line. I want to be at least a foot away from the wall. I'm at about 18 inches away from the wall, and I want to be in line with the window, kind of on the side of it, so I can run my pipe out and not have any issues. So this is where I'm going to be at. So we're just going to start off. I'm going to pull it a little bit further this way. I'm just going to start off and draw our circle with chalk. I bought all these materials at Menards. The basin was about $60, and the necessary piping and everything, and the lid, it all came up to, I believe I paid $160. Now the pump I'm going to be using I already owned, so if you had to buy the pump as well, the pump I paid $100 for that several years ago. So now I'm just going to go right on the outside of that chalk line. I've got my Makita drill set in hammer setting with a cement bit, and I'm pretty sure this is a 3/8 bit. I'm going to go ahead and check that. It's 5/16, so just a hair smaller than 3/8. Hammer setting right on the outside of the chalk line, and we're just going to start drilling. Feel like I already got through. It hit soft. You can tell when you get through, it just breaks right through. I'm going to come over about 2 inches and go ahead and drill another one. I'm going to put this in time lapse, but that's going to be the idea. Every 2 inches I'm going to drill a hole. So if you notice something, I turned that water hose on to get a trickle of water, mainly because after drilling the first 2 holes, I realized that concrete bit was getting super hot. I know when you saw tile and things like that, you're supposed to use a wet saw, so I thought having some water going over those holes and over that bit would be helpful, and it is proving to be a lot more helpful. Also, I had to start standing up because it's hard to drill through that concrete, and standing up gives you a lot more leverage. So back to time lapse. All right, everybody, we're gonna pick up where we left off. Hopefully today we'll be able to finish the project, get it all plumbed. Got a 3/8 drill bit here. So go ahead and pull the basin up, flip it over. We're gonna drill some holes. Go ahead and get rid of this plastic from the drilling process. Go ahead and get that put back in the hole. It sits underneath the ground. It sits underneath our concrete area by about a 1/2 inch on this side, about a 1/4 inch on that side. That's going to be great. Sand. My neighbor had it from when she installed a pool. She had some extra and got a couple buckets of it here. So we're going to go ahead and start backfilling with rock and sand. I just get the excess dirt. I had to get some more rock in addition to what I used the other day. So we're just going to backfill. I use this cup to get that sand in there. All right, now we've reached the part where we're going to start running the pipe. I've got 2 sticks of 1 inch that I've got outside. I'll need a coupler, so I got a coupler up here on the windowsill. I'm just mocking things up right now. I wanted to have to notch out this little piece of wood here on my window. We're gonna come up out of the pipe. We'll have a check valve right in this area here, and then we're gonna come up and we're gonna elbow off, and then I'm gonna put a union right here. So if I ever need to break this pipe off right here, I could. And we're gonna come out past the window, and we're gonna elbow down, and then we're gonna head on out. And I've got 2 elbows for the 1 inch pipe for that. So I'm gonna set that right over here. And we also have an adapter for our sump pump. It's gonna take it from the sump pump to the 1 1/4 pipe, which is what we're running out the pump. So first thing we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna unscrew this piece off of our sump pump, and we're going to go ahead and screw on the fitting like so, get nice and snug. I went ahead and took some window expanding foam, and I took it around the outside of the housing because the sand and the rock, I didn't have quite enough sand, and I didn't want, whenever I go to concrete around this, to have huge gaps. So I'm just scraping off this extra foam that's coming up right now. So it doesn't get in my way in a few minutes. There we go. Alright. Got that out of the way. We're going to take our lid, figure out our position. We got some holes that we have to line up with. There we go. Go. We're going to line up just like so. We'll put our pump in. I put 2 bricks in the bottom and I'll show you. I got a piece of rubber coated little wire here, and I've got that suspended over the 2 bricks, and that's just so the pump doesn't create a suction to the bottom of the sump basin. So I got that positioned in there. Now we're going to want to cut a piece of pipe, get that glued in, and we're going to bring it up to about here to where we're going to put our check on. And then after we run our check, we're going to run up from the check up to here, and we're going to elbow off, and then we're going to do our actually the union is on the, we'll have to union it right in this area because the union is 1 1/4 inch. So no big deal. Let's go ahead and get tape measure, get some measurements, and start cutting some pipe. So we'll come up about 18 inches. Mark that. saw set over right over here. Got some pipe glue and cleaner. Pull that pump out. Take the fitting off. Get a little bit of cleaner. Clean the fitting. Clean the pipe, get some glue. Just got some PVC glue here. Put a nice coat on there. Push those two together, fully seat them, give them a little bit of a twist. There we go. Let that set up for a second. Get that hooked back in the sump pump. Okay, drop that in. Get our cover locked up in position. Go. Got our cord coming out. Keep that over there. Next thing we're going to want to do is install our check for 1.25 inches. You want to check the direction on the check. Make sure you got it going the right way. This flows up. So we're going to put clean on this side. We're going to get that attached. We're going to clean the pipe. Clean the fitting. Go ahead and put a little glue in the fitting and some glue in the pipe. Get that pushed in. Give it a little turn so the glue sets. There we go. Now the next run is going to come up, get a tape. We're going to want to come up to this and meet up here. And we have to also put our union in. So we're going to have a union, which is going to act as a coupling. Let's get our measurement done here. (41.5 inches to the center. This only adds ½ inch. We're going to cut this piece of pipe to 42 inches, and then we can cut it down if we need to. Get our Sharpie. Mark 42 inches. Got our 42-inch cut. Now we know we're going to have to splice this with the we're going to have to put our union in there. So we got that set in place. We'll put our union kind of up here near the top. Go ahead and figure the union going in somewhere like this. So we'll cut here. There we go. Unions are not directional, just a pass through. I do like the O-ring side to be on the bottom and the other side to be on the top. Go ahead and get this cleaned up and glued. Next, we want to do a measurement. We'll mock this up. We know where we want to end up at, right up here. And we're going to measure from the inside of the fitting up into this right here, which go ahead and uninstall this board so we can get a better measurement. Mark this off here. So that pipe's going to fit through the hole I got drawn out. It will. Get my jigsaw. We're going to cut this hole out. Alright, we got that sawed up. Bring our pipe over in position. Get it measured from the bottom of the fitting. We're going to go ahead. On this elbow, we're going to have a downsized coupler. That way we can go 1.25 inches to 1 inch. So we're going to go ahead and put that elbow in place. And we're going to measure from the bottom of the coupler to that fitting, and we are looking at 15 inches. So we need a 15-inch piece of pipe. This piece of pipe here that we've been cutting on, we have 17 3/4 left remaining. Find my Sharpie. Those things disappear. I don't know about you, but they disappear on me. So we're going to go 15 inches. New piece of pipe. 15 inches. There we go. Try to get a nice straight cut. There we go, got a nice cut, dry fit it. Looks good. Pull that out. Remove our coupler. Put some pipe cleaner on there, it's pipe glue. Get that pushed in together. Oh yeah. Do the same to the other end. Okay. And we've got this bushing fitting that's going to go 1 1/4 to 1 inch. Need to get that glued up as well. Get that all pushed together real good. There we go. Get our coupler put together. Good and tight. And we'll bring our piece in here. We're going to go ahead and get that cleaned up. We're going to take a measurement. We want this straight up and down. We're going to come out. We're going to see where we're at outside. And we need to turn down right outside. And then we're going to cut a short piece of pipe, turn out, and we're going to dig a trench. So we just need to see that straight up and down, which we are there. We got some slope going outside, so we're good there. I'm going to make a mark. You want to be about right. So we just dry fit this one. We're going to pull this piece of pipe in. We're going to cut that mark. This mark's going to be where we're going to elbow to go into the ground. Okay? Go ahead and run that pipe out. Clean that up. Go ahead and put some cleaner on this pipe, and we put some cleaner on this end here. Get some adhesive. Get some in there. Get a good amount around the pipe. Bring the pipe to the fitting. In and turn. Looking good. We got our fitting outside here. Need to get it cleaned up. Glue that fitting as well. Glue that pipe. Get it put on. Right down the center. Now we need to go outside and we're going to have to dig a small trench and we're going to have to glue that pipe. So we're going to need outside, we're going to need our hacksaw, our elbow, and our coupling. And we'll bring our tape measure just in case. See you outside in just a minute. Trying to beat a storm. It's thundering right now. Trying to get this project done before we get any rain. Alright, we got that glued. That's gonna hold nicely. Now we gotta come to this other end. And figure out how far we need to go with this other piece of pipe. I think I want to be about 52 inches, and then later on I can elbow it off. Get a mark real quick at 52 and get this pipe cut. All right, there we go. Get this coupler cleaned up and put on the pipe. Ouch. That glue will hit a burn. Where I got a little cut on my finger, and that glue stings. Put it on and twist. Better hit it with some glue again. Go. Got all our pipe down. We got it going to where we want it to go. looking good. Now we can backfill the hole and go downstairs, and we will hook up the float. All right, so here we are, about 9 hours later, and the last step is to install the float switch and the extension cord. So what we need to do is open up this float switch container. See what we got to do here. Universal float switch. Okay. We will attach this to the pump. Okay. There is a bracket down there, so it'll be pretty low. Okay. This magnet switch goes up in here, just like so. So we're going to put that in, run that pin through. Pin keeps the switch from falling out. There's a little bump stop. Okay. Put that on the bottom. We're going to attach it to the pump. What's going to happen is when the water rises, it's going to hit the switch. The switch is going to make, the pump's going to turn on. We are going to need a small Phillips screwdriver. I got one here. Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and break our union. Got some glue in there. Oh, there we go. Pull that pump out. There's a little screw right here. We're going to undo that screw. We're going to attach this bracket. Brackets installed. Now we have a flat head for this. This is going to wrap around. This is going to go inside like so. Tighten it up. Okay. The float comes up, it hits, but it seems restricted. It's not going to work. Angle's not right. You got to turn this around to get the float further away from the housing, the sump. Okay. Lower it down. There we go. So you want the pump facing away from, we want the float facing away from the pump. That way it's not obstructed. Okay, so now what's going to happen, water's going to come up, hit the switch, make it, and then when it's done, it's going to come down. I kind of like to rotate it a little bit more. Let's see if we can go ahead and rotate it just a little further. Might have to go complete opposite. There we go. You just want to make sure the float portion is as far away from the sump pump as possible to prevent it from hanging up and not shutting off. Because if the float cannot fall down, and the float does not know to turn off. Everything's attached really well. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit more. That's all the way on. Fantastic. Okay. Get my cords out of the way here. Got the cords. Route the cords appropriately. Make sure that they're out of the water. Of course. Put the lid on. Now the way this works, we'll end up running the cord up. Tying it off at the top of this pipe. The switch has a plug. Bring it up here, loop around once for now. You plug your pump into your switch, and then you plug your switch. Get some extra cord off the ground here. Then you plug your switch into your outlet. Got that plugged up. Now let me get my new extension cord. I've got a GFCI outlet right over here. I'm going to tie into. I'll get all my cords buttoned up later. Right now we just want to make sure everything's going to work. We got our cords hooked up. We got everything hooked up. I'm going to go ahead and run some water. I'm going to take the cover off. I want to see how everything's going to work. Go ahead and run some water into our sump basin. See what's going to happen. Almost up to the water level. Almost up to the float level. Wash your hands off. There we go, we just hit the sump pump. We got flow, no leaks, everything looks good, and I can see that it's discharging outside. I'm going to turn my water on. Fantastic. We'll put that check valve 18 inches above the pump. Everything came down, turned off properly. I did just trigger the pump. Okay, good deal. I'm going to raise the stop The stop is adjustable. I'm going to raise it up. Okay. You got to make sure the stop is above the pump level, otherwise it can run dry. You don't want that to happen. Okay. Cycle that one more time. I'll wash some of this off. Clean up some of this foam while I'm waiting for that thing to fire up. Fantastic. Cycle on and off, great. Really happy with that. The only thing left to do now is to install the cover and then come around with a little cement and get everything cleaned up. Watch one more cycle. Works absolutely perfectly. I love it. I could not be happier. I'm going to go ahead and put the cover on. There's some screws that came with the cover. I have them in a little bag over here. I'll have to locate those later. It's one of the things when you're spreading out a project over 3 weeks, sometimes little bags of hardware and stuff get mislocated. Oh well, no big deal. Well, that's all there is to installing a sump pump basin in your basement. I've got about 9 hours total on this job, and the one thing I have left to do is come around some concrete and kind of fill this in and taper it off just to give it a more finished look, because that's not going to be a big deal. That's going to take me probably 20 minutes, and I don't have to do that right away. So I hope you enjoyed this content. It took a lot of time and effort on my part to put this video together. I hope you really appreciate it. So thank you, and have